slides.
Okay. Okay, I'm very honored to introduce Dr. Dora Pataricza, and who has Jewish roots in Szeged, is a historian at JTS, UJS in Budapest. Her research focuses on the intellectual and cultural legacy of the Szeged Jewish community. Dora is currently the initiator and director of a collaborative project on the Le Legacy, carried out in partnership with the National Library of Israel. She just gave a presentation there recently, the Szeged Jewish community and the JTS, and the Hungarian Jewish Museum and Archives. She is the editor of Emmanuel Löw essay, The Kish, right?
The Kiss.
Kiss.
Neshika.
The Kiss, okay. Forthcoming 2026 by Hebrew Union College Press. The result, no, I read the other passage talking about. We just got a very nice grant together, Dora and myself. We're going to study the whereabouts of all of Rudolf Kastner's survivors of the train after Dora's very nice paper. Wait, after your paper on the Szeged Jewish community and the survivors from Szeged, and my paper on the rabbinic survivors. Now we're going to elaborate this and extend it to the whole list of 1,684 passengers. And Dora, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Zahi. Thanks. So, well, I wanted to start with something personal, because in these days, and I'm a historian, so I'm quite good with days, it's 10 years that I have been dealing with the Szeged Jewish Archives, and I'm dealing with it mainly because my own family history is there. And it also means that what I'm doing right now here with you, with the survivors of this workshop, is much, much, much more fun than what work would ever feel for me. So it's really a pleasure to be here with you. So last year in May, when we had a conference, I was lucky enough to give you a guided tour in the Szeged New Synagogue with my wonderful Hungarian and Israeli colleagues, including Tzachi, Lior, Sonia. No, Agi was not there, Gabor was there, Zsuzsi was not there, Peter was not there either.
Yes, but the students were speaking separately.
Oh, yeah, but you were in the cemetery.
Oh, yeah, on the tour.
She
yeah,
was
yes,
there.
that's right.
Okay.
She was there.
Wow, okay. Then,
We spoke on Löw's grave. I remember.
okay, sorry. Anyway, you had amazing questions and observations. So I thought of reconsidering the whole building with an Israeli eye. And I'm aware that there is no such thing as an Israeli eye, but still I wanted to see what's there. So today I'd like to try to highlight parts of the synagogue that were meant to be a reminder and a connection to the land of Israel. What I will not do today is read Israel into the building from a later perspective. What I will try to do instead is reconstruct what mattered around the 1900s at the moment of planning and construction. How did a modern Hungarian Jewish community choose to express its roots? Which images, texts, objects, and landscapes were selected to anchor that identity? The argument that I will make is simple. The land of Israel was built into the synagogue from the beginning as a spiritual point of origin, consciously translated into architectural and visual form. Let's start with the presentation. Yeah. Let's start with the presentation of the community's chief rabbi.
You can raise the brightness, because it's just much better. Thank you.
Okay. Emmanuel Löw, the chief rabbi of Szeged, was perhaps the most important neolog rabbi and scholar of his time. He was not only significant as a rabbi, but also as an academic in various fields. In 1879, he submitted his doctoral thesis on plant names in Aramaic, for which he received his PhD in Leipzig. In the previous year in Berlin, he was ordained as a rabbi and started his work in Szeged. Emmanuel Löw continued his father's work and became a leading figure of Neolog Judaism. In 1920, he was imprisoned for 13 months for condemning the White Terror and Admiral Horthy, during which he worked on his major work, Die Flora der Juden, on plants in Jewish sources. In 1927, he joined Hungary's upper house, representing the Neolog community, and remained Szeged's rabbi for life, turning down offers from London, Vienna, and the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Deported at over 90 in 1944, thanks to the effort of Rezső Kastner and the Zionist Rescue Organization, he was taken off the train in Budapest but died soon after. In 1947, the Szeged Jewish community reburied him beside his father. Here you can see his passport, which is preserved at the National Library of Israel. Today I'll discuss the Szeged New Synagogue in detail, and first I'd like to give you a very short overview of Neolog synagogue architectural changes, although I know that both of you have already spoken about Neolog synagogues. In Neolog synagogues, liturgical change was directly translated into architectural form. The introduction of the organ and the choir, together with sermons in Hungarian, supported a frontal and orderly spatial arrangement. The most contested change concerned the bima. Its relocation from the center to the eastern wall merged the bima and the Torah ark into a single sanctuary zone and fixed the orientation of seating. Gender separation was maintained, but the mechitza was transformed into an open women's gallery with separate circulation. Neolog synagogues also accepted towers, despite Orthodox prohibitions, turning the building into an urban landmark. Weddings were increasingly held inside the synagogue in front of the eastern sanctuary. Although these elements were often labeled as reform, from a Neolog perspective, none of them violated explicit halachic requirements. At this point, I'm asking who has been to the Szeged synagogue? All of you. Okay, so maybe we can skip the...
Your work here is done.
I visited it last year.
Okay, that's amazing. So maybe we can skip the 1-minute video.
Don't skip it, it's nice.
I'm always showing this video because I can't, on photos I can't give back the feeling of space and this hugeness, but like all of you have this experience, and I guess all of you know that it was inaugurated in 1903, and it's the second largest synagogue in Hungary, the fourth largest in Europe, and many would say, including me, that it's the most beautiful one in the world. Designed by Lipót Bamhorn, Hungary's most prolific synagogue architect, it's also his most ornate creation. The true driving force, however, was Immanuel Löw, a scholar of international reputation, a botanist, and a charismatic, though at least based on what I see in the documents, often meticulous and micromanaging kind of a leader. Löw inaugurated the synagogue and held sermons there, but that's not all. He also shaped its entire concept, from the symbolic decorative program and floral motifs to stained glass designs, ritual objects, and even the embroidery patterns of the ritual textiles. The interior decoration was intended to convey the identity of the community and to educate them, presenting elements of the Hebrew Bible. Above the Torah ark, visitors can read the bilingual inscription, "Love your neighbor as yourself," the first synagogue wall inscription in Hungarian, also given in Hebrew. When I want to illustrate how much Löw contributed to the building itself, I usually show this comparison. On the left, you see the synagogue of Novi Sad, a beautiful structure designed entirely by Löw, Lipót Bamhorn. It's the exact same structure. On the right is the Szeged synagogue, where virtually every single square centimeter is decorated. It's filled with botanical motifs, leaves, flowers, fruits, and branches drawn from Jewish texts. This contrast makes Löw's role visible. In Szeged, the rabbi shaped the entire visual and conceptual program of the entire building. Currently, based on the documents of the archive, we are writing the history to 120 years of the Szeged New Synagogue together with my colleagues Viktória Bányai and Ágnes Oszkó. Our key sources are the architectural plans and all kinds of letters and documents connected to the synagogue's construction, mostly preserved in Szeged, but a big part of it is also in Israel, in Jerusalem. One letter, which you can see on the right hand side, reveals that Löw originally wanted to inscribe the names of God on the ceiling, a plan later replaced by painted prayers showing how directly he shaped the decoration. He also designed the stained glass windows of the Jewish holidays, creating a botanical language of symbols and ritual objects, including references to the land of Israel. What follows are examples showing how the archival material allows us to reconstruct Löw's role in shaping not only the windows, but the broader symbolic program of the synagogue. By designing the stained glass windows, Löw aimed to present the Jewish year as a coherent visual program. He prepared detailed sketches for each large window, which you can see here. And what you can see here is a comparison between the original design and the implemented windows, which were published, the photos were published by Löw in 1903. And the different fields are indicated with different colors. So this is the design, and then this is what has been like red, and then what has been implemented. The first window in the southeast represents everyday life and weekday labor, which is indicated on the design as hall for weekdays. And there was also only limited space on the glasses, so the inscription was written in the Hebrew inscription is only in an abbreviated form, Vekotz vedat dartatz miach lach, and so on, but the last two words are always abbreviated. The windows are all framed by a double border. The outer of these, which Löw calls the lilies of the Hashmonean coins, is the same on all the windows of the synagogue, which you can see there. The silver shekels were used by the kings of the Hashmonean dynasty. In the middle, you can see a wooden plow, which was to be copied from Zeitschrift des Deutschen Palästina Vereins, which you can see here. I show you now what the windows look like now. Assume on the top part, the bowls for donation. Wait, this is the comparison. So what you can spot is that the top part is different because instead of bowls for donation, it only depicts the straps of the fill-in without the boxes. And why? Because we found the answer to this question recently. We managed to talk with the woman who was in charge of restoring the stained glass windows in 1989, and she still had the documentation from that restoration, and I'm showing you her drawing, which is here. And we know that the window, this specific window, has been damaged during the war, very likely deliberately by the locals, so by people of Szeged. And in 1989, this woman, the window restorer, did not have access, or she was not given enough help to access the 1903 photographs or the original construction plans. The restorer herself is not Jewish. She has probably never seen a pair of tefillin, and these windows must have been the most incomplete and damaged. So as a result, certain motifs have been reconstructed differently from the original design. And I also keep saying that archivists and historians are important, for example, when you have to consult them at the time of a synagogue restoration. Let's move on with the windows. I'm giving you 3 more examples, and how the way how Jewish history is narrated through them. On the northern side, the Shmini Atzeret windows speak the language of providence, while the image of Rachel's tomb, which you can, Rachel's tomb, it's at the center of the visual program. In the middle, you can see the Tisha B'Av window, mourning the destruction of the temple and bearing the verse, "If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand wither." On the left-hand side, you can see the window of the southwest, the windows of Purim and Hanukkah, and the Maccabean banner recalls victory, faith, and the rededication of the Jerusalem temple, framed by inscriptions of joy, light, and honor. Löw appears to have conceived the synagogue as a kind of encyclopedia in stone and glass. The building was meant to be read, with a clear educational purpose. Compared with other contemporary synagogues, Szeged stands out for the systematic coherence of its visual and symbolic program. The synagogue thus functions as a medium of instruction. The connection to Eretz Israel, too, was strongly included in the fabric of the synagogue through references to Jerusalem and the temple on several levels. Inside the synagogue, the Tisha B'Av window depicting the temple, the intention of drawing references or similarity to the temple with the use of shittim wood on the door of the Torah Ark, which you can see here, and the shittim wood was imported from Egypt. We still have the invoices. There is also a stone from Jerusalem, but I have zero clue where it is, but we just know that it's there somewhere. And the symbolism of temple service woven into the parochet, which is Tzahi's parochet in a way. Inscriptions such as More Morenu, the formula of Orthodox usage, and the phrase Torah mi Sinai further emphasize the connection to tradition and the bond with Jerusalem and Eretz Israel. Taken together, these choices demonstrate that the building was far less reformed than often assumed, consciously aligning itself with both Orthodoxy and contemporary reform currents and adhering to references to Israel. At the same time, there are numerous motifs reminiscent of Christian churches, such as a Byzantine church-like structure and the Gothic-like tracery windows, the organ, an elongated transept, the four evangelists, and the inscriptions of the prayer sections. Löw even depicted the 12 tribes at a quite hidden place, which we discovered recently. Here you can see four of the tribes, four colors for four of the tribes, on 3 vaulted ceilings near the entrance of the synagogue space. And I'd like to ask my dear colleagues to make your guesses what you can see in the middle. What's that? And it's not the 12 tribes.
Hungarian.
Yes, excellent. It's the Hungarian flag for red, white, and green.
Oh, wow.
And what's the fourth field?
Austrian.
No,
Nem látom még.
it's red and white and yellow and blue. That's the coat of arms of Szeged. So even those colors, coat of arms for Szeged. So it's combined with the.
So where's the green?
This is supposed to be green. It's a really ugly green by now, but I guess in the original it was.
Oh,
I think this part was never restored. So it took me also some time. So it's the 12 tribes and then the Hungarian flag and the coat of arms of Szeged. And then on the right hand side I'm showing you a part of the upper main window, again with references to the temple, the breastplate of the Kohen Hagadol with 12 different colors, which you can see here and there. So again a reference to the temple. This is, you are a pro audience, I'm never showing this slide, but I'd like to show you this. What do you see here? And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger.
Is it Coptic
That.
something?
No, but like something in that direction.
Is Rovás?
No, yeah, that's what people think.
No, it looks like it's Hebrew, ancient Hebrew characters.
Yes,
Yeah.
Hello Hebrew.
Yeah.
There is,
Hebrew,
yeah, like there is the Hebrew, and then there is an additional row of text, and it's running everywhere. So one more surface or one more
Is it a
occasion.
specific text or random
Yes, it's a
characters?
psalm. It's a psalm. Vicky was able to read it. So one more opportunity to teach the people. One thing we don't know is about the audience and also how he managed to use this space, but he really tried to squeeze in everything. So even this is here, there. Let's move to the garden. Synagogues rarely stand in the middle of gardens or parks, yet this is exactly what happened in Szeged, and it's by no means a coincidence. Immanuel Löw applied his knowledge to the iconography of the synagogue and the plants in the garden. Löw, who designed the garden, just like the path and the vegetation of the Szeged Jewish cemetery. For such a synagogue to be built, several conditions had to come together. First, there had to be space, a large plot of land which was available in abundance after the devastating flood of the river Tisa of 1879. The area itself was still on the outskirts of the city. Then there had to be a rabbi who was also a botanist, and an architect willing to collaborate closely with him, and of course a wealthy and ambitious Jewish community to make it all possible. Löw gave more to the world than just the Szeged synagogue. His main work, the Flora der Juden, is a monumental 4-volume work of over 2,600 pages, one of the most detailed botanical studies ever produced in Jewish scholarship. Drawing on his expertise in languages, rabbinic texts, and modern botany, Rabbi Immanuel Löw examined every plant mentioned in Jewish sources, from the Torah and the Talmud to medieval commentaries and Yiddish folklore. He placed these plants within Carl von Linné's scientific system, tracing their name, symbolism, and practical uses in daily and religious life, from law and folklore to medicine and art. Löw identified altogether 117 biblical and 320 Tanaitic plant names, noting their linguistic origins. The following video is from a documentary made in 2002 about Rabbi Immanuel Löw, featuring the words of Professor Yaakov Zussman of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, one of the leading experts on the Flora der Juden, claiming that it's thanks to Löw's identifying work that many fruits and plants in modern Hebrew have a name now. And who am I to question this? The film is titled Immanuel Löw, Who Understood the Language of Plants. Do we have time to play this 1-minute video?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah. 1 minute. That's
Right.
Virágoknak. Rengeteg növényeknek a neve. Gyümölcsöknek, zöldségeknek, fáknak, virágoknak. Százával, ezrében. Senki sem tudta pontosan, hogy mi az. Ő volt az első, aki tudományosan kikutatta, és tudta mondani, ez az, és ez az. És tulajdonképpen a mai napi modern Héberben, hogy nevezzük ezeket a növényeket ilyen néven vagy olyan néven, az mind a Löwből számít. De nem csak az. Ő volt majdnem az első, aki rájött, hogy a talmudi irodalom, egy óriási irodalom, ahogy mi hozzánk eljutott a nyomtatott kiadásokban, különösen idegen neveket, amit nem ismertek középkorban, azok elértek hozzánk nagyon rossz helyzetben. Tele van hibákkal. Minden kifejezést megtalálni, hol fordul elő, és megnézni, hogy néz az ki a kéziratokban. És elhatározni, hogy melyik forma az az igazi forma, az mindent előbb.
And he, of course, is also a subject of our new project.
yeah, yes, indeed.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Wait. I have 3 more slides.
Oh!
Yeah, I'll try to be very quick.
Yeah,
Okay. 2 further Zionist episodes link Szeged to Israel. On 27th of May 1948, very shortly after the establishment of the State of Israel, the leadership of the Szeged Jewish community decided to donate the entire library of Immanuel Löw to the new state. Jenő Frankel, the chief rabbi of Szeged, argued that while Löv's book would be used by 10 people annually in Szeged, 10 people per day could use it in Israel. However, the transfer later was delayed by the Cold War, when Hungary...
yeah, 10 people in Israel a year,
No.
and 1 people in a lifetime in Szeged. I think that would
Yeah.
be more.
Realistic. Anyway, Hungary, the state of Hungary, stated that no such collection can be donated to the enemy, and the National Library of Israel ended up buying the collection in 1957. The Szeged Jewish community spent the money they received on the restoration of the building. The other episode is a plaque. The marble plaque mounted on the synagogue wall at the time of its inauguration originally commemorated major Jewish philanthropists, including Moses Montefiore and Maurice de Hirsch. It formed part of the synagogue's original commemorative framework. But in 1950, A new name was added to this same plaque. Unlike the original inscriptions, which belonged to the planned symbolic program of the building, this later addition marked a personal loss shaped by the War of Independence in Israel. What you can see is the memory page of Shmaryahu Tanács, who was born Pál Schwarz, and his decision to leave Hungary and join the struggle in Israel was remembered most vividly by those who knew him personally. Jenő Frankel, chief rabbi of Szeged, who himself made Aliyah in 1949, recalled Tanács as a young man shaped early by exclusion and persecution already during his high school time. In a letter written on the 10th Yortzeit of Tanács's death, Frankel recalled a conversation from September 1948 in Szeged, held in the apartment of Immanuel Löw's widow. There, Tanács articulated his conviction in unambiguous terms. I quote, "Jewish life has no meaning anywhere else but in the renewed ancestral homeland. For that renewal, I too must fight." End of quote. Shortly thereafter, he left Hungary illegally. After arriving in the country in October 1948, Pál Tanács was initially assigned to essential service, but he repeatedly requested combat duty. He was sent to Jerusalem, where he fell at his post at Notre Dame in January 1949. He was first buried at Sheikh Badr and later reinterred at the military cemetery on Mount Herzl. Frankel, who arrived in Israel only weeks after Tanács, recalled learning upon his own arrival that Tanács had already fought his battle and died. Tanács's parents and brother made Aliyah after Pál's death. Finally, today, not far from here, a street named in Jerusalem preserves the legacy of Immanuel Löw. It's a quiet sign that his work, which is rooted in text, plans, and the land of Israel, that once shaped a synagogue in Hungary, eventually also made their way into the urban and cultural landscape of the State of Israel.
What does it say? I can't see.
Simcha Yehudim, yeah, the flora of the Jews.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Dora, for the beautiful presentation. Any questions? Yeah, Agi, please.
Thank you. You mentioned that he also, this very controlling man, that he also had some textual inscriptions put on the walls of the synagogue. Is that correct?
A lot, like the Psalms.
Okay, so that, because apart from Psalms, was there anything else? That
Yeah, the
he-
Torah, Vodak Milut Hasadim, but even the love your
Okay,
neighbor
so these
as
short
yourself.
slogans. Uh-huh.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
even the inscriptions on the windows, a lot. And what we know now is he really must have used it for educational purpose, because he even paid attention that whoever, like for example, women sitting upstairs who couldn't see the windows under them, the same windows, the same motifs are on the opposite. So that for sure you can see the motif that he planned to introduce. What we are missing is a photograph of him showing around, proving that he was
Involved.
using it as an educational material.
But all the textual citations came from the Bible. So, for example, not
Yes.
prayer text as such. Okay.
No, but like the inaugurational, or these plaques, for example.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
textual and
Yeah.
it's not the Bible,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's still from 1903, so lots of different texts.
Thank you.
One small question. We know that Lew's lost work dealt with gemstones, and he was at his later years obsessed with gemology and biblical gemology. Any clues to that in the architecture? That is imitations of special gems? Because I did see the choshen there, but
Yes.
yeah, but that's very small with proportion to all of the structure. Any more discussions about gems or?
Not really, or I haven't come across it yet. I mean, there is a detailed description of the marbles to be used, which is from Carrara, but also from current Romania, but that's not really gems. So, and I'm absolutely not an expert on it, but probably, for example, I showed, I think, the picture of the menorah, and that's a copy with the description in the Torah, and it includes gems. So, in that respect, there are some gems.
Okay. And another point, you mentioned his detachment from Reform values and the combination of Neolog and Orthodox aspects, and I think, if I recall correctly, I noted it last year when we were there, that on the Parochet you have the altar. No, not the altar, I'm sorry, the covenant, the Aron, with the Kruvim on it. The Ark, yeah, thank you. The Lost Ark, of course, Indiana Jones.
That's how I know it.
Yeah, of course. Me too. And that's also something of a rejection of Reform values when it comes to the concrete model of Jerusalem. So when you see the menorah is, of course, became almost a universal symbol of Judaism, whereas the Ark isn't as a universal symbol. It is very much concrete, the temple in Jerusalem, as well as some of the other aspects there. So it's also a point to mention. And by the way, the whole focus on the land of Israel, as opposed to, you can't see anything like that in any Reform synagogue in the world. Even those who are Zionists, they don't worship via the land. Whereas, according to his perspective, that is the way to worship. He wanted people to go into this nowadays we would call it a virtual reality of the land of Israel surrounding them. Even going to the garden and finding the flora of the land of Israel, you are actually pacing in the paths of the land of Israel. That's
It's like the Bible Museum.
yeah, that's exactly. He wanted to enact a land of Israel. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Skansen of Eretz.
Yeah. Okay, it's my great pleasure to wrap up this special and very fascinating panel, and I will also take the opportunity to thank each and every one of you personally for participating in this very important conference. It is important for our mutual aspirations and programs, but it was also very important for me personally, and I really think Gabo mentioned it yesterday, I'm sorry. This is for me a dream come true. The ability to have such a very, very high leveled academic conference with some of the best researchers in the world dealing with Hungarian Jewry here in Israel, participating and cooperating with the JTS OJ from Budapest, and having all of these experts coming on. It really is fascinating. I think the conference was, for me, illuminating, and I really want to extend my gratitude to each and every one of you for giving us all of your dedication and academic excellence, but also being part of this community, of this family that we are trying to establish. And I hope to see you all again in May in Budapest, לשנה הבאה בבודפשט הבנויה, שנה הזאת בבודפשט הבנויה, right? And I hope you have a very nice stay for the next hours, and that you'll be able to go back to your homes tomorrow morning. But again, thank you very much, each and every one of you. It was a great, great, great experience, and I hope to meet again very soon.
Just one more sentence. Although all of you know the contribution of Tzachi, really this whole thing, this whole cooperation wouldn't exist at all if not Tzachi. So Tzachi,
Thank you very much.
you are the man. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Really, really grateful for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Okay. Wow.
I enjoyed it very much.